It's finally happened. Doomsday is upon us, but you are ready. You peer out the window at the mass hysteria of the local populace and shake your head. Although you're not a doomsday prepper or conspiracy nut, you are practical and ready for anything. You know how important it is to be prepared for any scenario, which is why you created a survival kit. What goes into the survival kit was a difficult decision to make, but you did a lot of research and planning. Now you're ready for almost anything, except for giant kaiju, but can anyone be ready really for giant monsters from a different dimension? You're no stranger to different ways our society could fall apart, or scenarios that could cause the world as we know it to come to an end. You've watched all the Infographics show's videos because they're super interesting, fun, and educational. You know it's true. You've come across videos about how to survive in a homeland invasion, a zombie apocalypse, and a nuclear winter. You're ready. But one thing that's needed in all crisis scenarios is a survival kit. You did a lot of research into what goes into a survival kit just to make sure you're prepared for anything. The first thing you realized while gathering data was that you need the correct container, something secure and easy to carry. You settle on a hiking backpack, but a duffel bag could work just as well. Your backpack is durable, waterproof, and easy to carry around with you wherever you go. You also make sure that each item in your survival kit is in an airtight plastic bag. This is to reduce the risk of anything getting wet or contaminated. The last thing you want in an emergency is soggy food or wet medicine. You've given a lot of thought to what's the most likely doomsday scenario, but you decide that the world we live in is a crazy place, so you must be ready for anything at all times. You make sure to maintain your kit and check on its contents at regular intervals. You keep it easily accessible in a cool, dry place to ensure your canned food and other supplies are in optimal condition. When checking your kit, you always make sure to replace expired items. In an emergency, it would be a real bummer to need painkillers and come to realize that they expired and aren't effective anymore. You also need to know that as new products become available, technology advances, and your family changes, you might need to update your kit. This is to ensure that you have the supplies that are right for you. Everyone's different, but there are definitely items that every survival kit must include. At your house, you keep the survival kit in an easily accessible location and make sure everyone in the family knows where it is. You won't always be around, and you still want the people you care about to be safe. You also keep a mini survival kit at work. You never know when a disaster will strike. That's kind of part of it being a disaster. Also, you make sure to keep a backup survival kit in your car, just in case you're driving and need to get the hell out of Dodge right at that moment. It's time for one of your regularly scheduled survival kit checkups. You pull the kit out of its easily accessible but safe spot and check the contents. You make sure to carefully zip and unzip all plastic bags that contain each item. You know it's imperative to maintain the integrity and cleanliness of the survival kit. Nothing gets in and nothing gets out without your say-so. You first check your water supply. This is potentially the most vital item in the survival kit. A human can go for more than 3 weeks with no food, but can only last 3 to 4 days without water. It's important to have 1 gallon of water per person per day for at least 3 days. Yes, you know that this will make your survival kit heavy, but it's better than dying of dehydration, right? You also make sure you have water purification tablets. If your water supply runs out, you need to make sure you can clean any water you locate to keep from getting sick. Unfortunately, harmful microbes love living and hiding in water. You go with iodine tablets because they're cheap and easy to find. You take out the water and place it to the side. Next, you take inventory of your food. You have 3 days worth of food, but in an emergency that could last you much longer. The food doesn't take up quite as much space as the water. You only have non-perishable food, the bulk of which is rice, pasta, beans, and oats. These foods are full of nutrients that your body will need when in survival mode. They also won't go bad anytime soon. The rest of your sustenance is made up of canned foods that contain liquids such as tomatoes, beans, and tuna. The leftover liquids in the cans can always be used to cook your other foods, like rice and pasta. This will help keep your water available for drinking and will give some flavor to what you're eating. It's a win-win scenario. Just make sure you pack a can opener. No one wants to be seen bashing a can of tomatoes with a rock. It would be a little embarrassing, to say the least. You know that you'll need a radio to stay up to date on information and the weather. Many people just pack a standard battery-powered radio, but you've opted for the hand-cranked NOAA weather radio with tone alert. Sure, it isn't very sophisticated, but less batteries means less weight, and that's ideal. You just crank and go. That way you can keep your batteries for your flashlight. You never know when the power's going to go out and you need to find your way in the dark. You put all the inventoried content to the side and take out the first aid kit. You want to make sure that this vital piece of equipment is fully stocked. When on the road or just around the house, accidents happen. When health services are limited during an emergency, you know your survival kit must have a basic supply of first aid materials. You check to make sure it has antibiotic ointment packs, gauze, bandages, scissors, and tweezers. You also feel that an emergency blanket would be useful. It could be used on cold nights or if someone falls into the cold water while crossing a river. You never know what the world will throw at you, and you want to be prepared. You look at your list. Water? Check. Food? Check. Radio and first aid? Check, check. You unzip a side pocket and pull out a whistle on a lanyard. When needing to get the attention of someone far away, there's nothing like the shrill screech of a whistle. It can be used as a signal or a warning. Maybe you'll just use it to get the attention of first responders or rescue personnel. You swing the whistle around your fingers and then safely secure it back in your survival pack. You unzip another pocket where you've stored sanitation and personal hygiene items. You have moist towelettes for your bathroom and cleaning needs. You've also packed a roll of garbage bags, which can be used for disposal of used materials or cut in ways that allow you to use the durable plastic in unconventional ways. In the worst scenarios, you could always use the garbage bags as a makeshift poncho to keep your core dry. You think about how each item in your survival kit has multiple functions. They may not be the function that the item was designed for, but in an emergency, you do what you have to do. You pull a Swiss Army knife from your pocket. You've decided that this multi-purpose tool could be useful in many scenarios, so you add it to the survival kit. It has many tools, all in one compact device, including the all-important can opener. Don't forget that! You also pack local maps. Sure, you have Google Maps on your smartphone, but in a prolonged emergency, your phone could die. Yes, you bring backup batteries and chargers for your phone, but all of the batteries and chargers in the world won't matter if the cell phone towers lose power or aren't sending out a signal. Paper maps will never lose their signal, so you can always count on them to get you to where you're going. You place everything back into your survival kit carefully. It's like a game of Tetris, making sure every possible space is filled in the most efficient way. You unzip the front pocket to check to make sure the folded papers are in order. You've made copies of personal documents, including medication lists and up-to-date medical records. You have your passport, birth certificate, and license all copied and ready to go. The survival kit goes back into its safe storage location, and you think about the other necessities that you need. Your prescribed medication and dietary needs are taken into consideration. Everyone is different and has different needs. You need to make sure that your survival kit is tailored to your needs. You fill your prescriptions, and after a long day of walking, pain relievers will be vital. After a long day of eating canned food, anti-diarrhea medication might be necessary to ensure you don't lose all of your liquids, especially if you eat something that's expired or gone bad by accident. Again, when trying to survive, there's nothing more important than water, both inside and outside of your body. The last things you need to add to your survival kit is a book and a deck of cards. This might not seem entirely necessary, but mental health can mean the difference between life and death. It's important to keep the brain active and engaged so you can make good decisions. Mental health in any situation is important, but when fighting for survival, it's non-negotiable. You take a deep breath and let it out slowly. You feel more relaxed knowing that your survival kit's in order. If something extreme happens, you know that everything you need to survive is in a secure, easy access location. And if you need to stay quarantined in your house, everything you need is in your survival kit. If you need to leave the home and seek refuge elsewhere, everything you need to make it is in your survival kit. Knowing that you'll have everything you need in an emergency is the first step of survival. Let's just hope the reason you need to grab your survival kit isn't due to a giant kaiju invading your city. Have you gone through your survival kit recently to make sure you have everything? Did we forget to list anything that everyone should have in their survival kit? Let us know in the comments. The best way to survive is to be prepared. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.